Long hauls need smart prep. Tap like, hit subscribe, and let's begin.
Question 1. In North Dakota, the P passenger endorsement is automatically included on a CDL when the driver obtains a school bus endorsement. True or false? False. While the passenger endorsement is required for a school bus endorsement, it is not automatically added. The driver must qualify for it through separate testing. Question 2. In North Dakota, drivers with a Commercial Learner's Permit CLP must be accompanied by a CDL holder seated in the front passenger seat at all times when operating a CMV. True or false? True. North Dakota follows FMCSA supervision rules, requiring a qualified CDL holder in the front passenger seat for any CLP operation to ensure immediate intervention if needed. Question 3. A North Dakota Class A CDL allows operation of combination vehicles with a GCWR of 26,001 pounds or more, provided the towed unit exceeds 10,000 pounds GVWR. True or false? True. This mirrors federal CDL classification standards, which North Dakota adopts without modification for Class A licensing. Question 4. The entry-level driver training ELDT mandate applies in North Dakota only to first-time Class A CDL applicants. True or false? False. ELDT applies to first-time Class A and B applicants, certain endorsements, and CDL upgrades per federal and state rules. Question 5. A major offense, such as using a CMV to commit a felony involving a controlled substance, will result in a lifetime CDL disqualification in North Dakota. True or false? True. Federal disqualification rules are adopted by North Dakota, imposing lifetime bans for such offenses. Question 6. In North Dakota, drivers must perform a pre-trip inspection before operating a CMV each day the vehicle is in service. True or false? True. State and federal rules mandate a thorough pre-trip inspection to verify safe operating condition prior to use. Question 7. A complete in-cab air brake inspection in North Dakota requires checking low air warning devices, applying service brakes, and conducting a static leakage test. True or false? True. These are standard inspection elements required for air brake-equipped CMVs in the state. Question 8. Combination vehicle drivers in North Dakota must conduct a tug test to verify the trailer brakes hold before moving. True or false? True. This is an essential coupling safety check mandated during the pre-trip process. Question 9. The Hazardous Materials Endorsement H in North Dakota does not require fingerprint-based TSA security threat assessment. True or false? False. TSA fingerprint-based checks are federally required and enforced by North Dakota DOT for hazardous materials endorsement applicants. Question 10. In North Dakota, school bus drivers are allowed to fuel their buses with passengers on board if the engine is off. True or false? False. State rules prohibit fueling a bus with passengers on board under any circumstances. Question 11. The air compressor governor cutout pressure in North Dakota air brake systems should typically be between 120 and 140 psi. True or false? True. This range meets FMCSA and state specifications for proper governor operation. Question 12. Drivers in North Dakota must signal continuously for at least 100 feet before turning or changing lanes. True or false? True. State traffic laws set a minimum signal distance to warn other motorists. Question 13. A North Dakota CDL holder transporting livestock is exempt from hours of service rules at all times. True or false? False. Exemptions apply only during certain agricultural seasons and under specific conditions. Question 14. Drivers must always drain air tanks daily on vehicles equipped with air brakes in North Dakota. True or false? True. This prevents moisture accumulation, which can damage brake components, especially in cold climates. Question 15. In North Dakota, a driver failing to stop for a railroad crossing while transporting hazardous materials faces a mandatory 60-day CDL disqualification for a first offense. True or false? True. State penalties align with federal safety regulations for railroad crossing violations. Question 16. An L restriction on a North Dakota CDL indicates the driver is prohibited from operating a CMV with a full air brake system. True or false? True. This restriction is applied when a driver tests in a vehicle without air brakes or fails the air brake knowledge/skills test. Question 17. For tank vehicles in North Dakota, the surge effect is most pronounced when the tank is completely full. True or false? False. Surge is most noticeable when tanks are partially filled due to the movement of liquid. Question 18. All CDL applicants in North Dakota must pass a vision test requiring at least 20/40 vision in each eye, with or without correction. True or false? True. This is a federal medical qualification standard enforced by the state. Question 19. In North Dakota, the air loss rate for a combination vehicle with brakes released should not exceed 4 psi in 1 minute. True or false? True. This is the maximum allowed leakage rate under inspection standards. Question 20. The T endorsement in North Dakota authorizes operation of double or triple trailers. True or false? True. This endorsement requires passing an additional knowledge test. Question 21. A CDL is required in North Dakota for operation of farm vehicles at all times, even during planting and harvest seasons. True or false? False. Farm vehicle operators meeting certain criteria are exempt during seasonal operations within 150 air miles. Question 22. In North Dakota, tire tread depth for steering axles must be at least 2/32 of an inch. True or false? False. Steering axle tires require at least 4/32 of an inch tread depth. Other tires require 2/32. Question 23. Carrying radar detectors in a CMV is prohibited in North Dakota. True or false? True. Federal rules prohibit their use or possession in CMVs nationwide. Question 24. When conducting a hydraulic brake check in North Dakota, the driver should pump the brake pedal 3 times and hold it to check for pedal movement. True or false? True. This tests for leaks in hydraulic systems. Question 25. The minimum age to obtain an intrastate only CDL in North Dakota is 18 years old. True or false? True. Interstate operation requires drivers to be at least 21 years old. Question 26. In North Dakota, the brake drums or rotors must be free of cracks longer than 1/2 the width of the friction area. True or false? True. This meets federal out-of-service criteria, which the state enforces during inspections. Question 27. The North Dakota CDL Manual allows drivers to leave a CMV idling unattended if the parking brake is engaged. True or false? False. Leaving a CMV idling unattended is prohibited regardless of brake setting. Question 28. North Dakota requires that reflective triangles be placed at 10 feet, 100 feet, and 200 feet toward approaching traffic when stopped on a 2-lane road. True or false? True. This follows federal placement standards for warning devices. Question 29. When driving in North Dakota winter conditions, using the engine retarder on icy roads can cause drive wheel skids. True or false? True. Retarders can cause loss of traction on slick surfaces. Question 30. In North Dakota, drivers must complete a post-trip inspection report only if a defect was found during the trip. True or false? True. A report is only required when safety-related defects are discovered. Question 31. A North Dakota driver transporting passengers may fuel their vehicle with passengers on board if the bus is in an enclosed building. True or false? False. Fueling with passengers on board is prohibited, especially in enclosed spaces. Question 32. The manual states that school bus drivers in North Dakota must activate red flashing lights at least 300 feet before stopping on rural roads. True or false? False. The correct distance is at least 100 feet in rural areas unless otherwise posted. Question 33. In North Dakota, CMV drivers must check cargo securement within the first 50 miles of a trip and at regular intervals thereafter. True or false? True. This aligns with FMCSA cargo securement rules. Question 34. A driver in North Dakota must stop at all railroad crossings when carrying Division 2.1 flammable gas, even if no train is visible. True or false? True. Federal hazmat regulations require this precaution. Question 35. The North Dakota CDL Manual recommends using high beams and fog to improve visibility. True or false? False. Low beams should be used to reduce glare and improve vision in fog. Question 36. In North Dakota, all CMV operators must maintain a daily driver's log unless they qualify for an exemption. True or false? True. Exemptions are limited to certain short-haul and time card situations. Question 37. The proper method for downshifting on a downgrade in North Dakota is to shift before starting down the hill. True or false? True. Shifting on the downgrade can cause loss of control. Question 38. In North Dakota, CMV drivers may use a handheld mobile phone if the vehicle is stopped at a traffic light. True or false? False. Handheld phone use is prohibited unless the driver is safely parked off the roadway. Question 39. The air compressor in a North Dakota CMV must raise air pressure from 85 to 100 psi within 30 seconds in dual air systems. True or false? True. This is the standard for proper compressor performance. Question 40. Drivers in North Dakota can hold more than one driver's license as long as they are from different states. True or false? False. Federal law prohibits holding more than one driver's license at any time. Question 41. The N endorsement in North Dakota authorizes operation of tank vehicles with a capacity of 1,000 gallons or more. True or false? True. This applies to tankers used for liquids or liquefied gases. Question 42. In North Dakota, CMVs are not required to stop at agricultural crossings if operating intrastate only. True or false? False. All CMVs must obey applicable crossing rules regardless of cargo or operation type. Question 43. For air brake systems in North Dakota, the low air warning must activate before pressure drops below 55 psi. True or false? True. This ensures the driver has enough time to stop safely. Question 44. The manual states that the following distance for CMVs in North Dakota should be at least 1 second for every 10 feet of vehicle length under 40 miles per hour. True or false? True. Add an extra second when traveling over 40 miles per hour. Question 45. Drivers transporting hazardous materials in North Dakota must carry emergency response information in a readily accessible location. True or false? True. This is required by federal hazmat regulations and enforced by the state. Question 46. A driver in North Dakota may operate a CMV with an expired medical certificate as long as they have a waiver from their employer. True or false? False. Medical certificates must be current. Employer waivers are not valid. Question 47. In North Dakota, the trailer hand valve should be used for parking on a downgrade. True or false? False. The parking brake system must be used. The hand valve can cause air loss over time. Question 48. All school bus drivers in North Dakota must conduct a post-trip inspection to check for sleeping children. True or false? True. This is a state-mandated safety step. Question 49. In North Dakota, CMV drivers must wear a seat belt whenever the vehicle is in motion. True or false? True. Seat belt use is mandatory for all CMV drivers. Question 50. An empty trailer has better traction than a fully loaded one in North Dakota due to less weight. True or false? False. Loaded trailers have better traction. Empty trailers are more likely to skid or bounce.
Thanks for watching. If you're aiming for a first-time pass, keep going. Next video or cheat sheet, your choice.